I deviously changed my engagement party theme so my evil sister won't stand out. Was I too petty? My half-sister Heather and I never really got along. We are both 24 years old. My father left my mother for her mother, and we were born in the same month, 20 days apart. It has always been weird. It doesn't help that Heather's mom hates me and my mom. By extension, Heather and I didn't have the best relationship. She has always tried to one-up me, even though we both have a similar economic background. I can give examples of this, but for the sake of the word limit, won't write them here. My fiancé and I got engaged last month and had our engagement party this Saturday. We had originally planned it as a casual formal event. Nice dresses, but not I am going to the Met Gala nice. More like we are going to a good restaurant nice. Anyway, my cousin contacted me saying she had to show me something. It was a picture of the dress Heather was going to wear. This dress. Jesus Christ. It can only be described as opulent. It was long and white, strapless with sewn in crystals and golden accents. I'm pretty sure it's a wedding dress, but I can't be 100% certain. This made me really angry, so I decided, forget that. I started texting people telling them that there had been a change of plans and that instead of casual formal, I decided to make it a costume party. My mother's side is crazy for Halloween, so they were immediately on board. I told my father via text and asked him to relay the message to Heather and her mother, knowing full well that he would forget or leave it to the last minute. Saturday came along, guests started showing up, most of them in costumes. Some didn't have time to get one, so we just provided them with fun hats and cheap wigs. Heather, my dad, and her mother came about 1 hour late. As soon as she noticed that everyone was either wearing elaborate costumes or weird accessories and she didn't stand out, she lost it. Especially when my fiancé came along and told her that her bride dress looked amazing for a cheap costume. She left crying, and her mother and my father told me that I was being childish and I could have told Heather myself and not have tasked my father. For those interested, my fiancé was dressed as Bubbles, and I was dressed as Mojo Jojo. My mom and aunts went as ABBA. Other memorable costumes were Luffy and Zorro, Ian Malcolm and John Hammond, and Jesus. So why did I invite her? It's one of those weird family situations where not inviting them would have been more dramatic, when you try pleasing everyone. Plus, I still wanted a relationship with my father, so not inviting Heather and her mom would have made things super difficult and made it so my father would have had to choose. I don't regret the costume party. When I kept thinking about it, I noticed that my father wouldn't have chosen me in this scenario, which is why I ended up cutting them off. You let her win. No. The point of this was to ruin my half-sister's intention. She wasn't just dressed nicely, as some of you put it. She wore a wedding dress to my engagement party. I'd much rather subvert this whole mess rather than have her smugly sitting at the table in her wedding dress. Also, some of you are really hung up on the cheap wigs part and ignore literally everything else regarding the party. A minority of our guests wore those cheap wigs. Also, it literally doesn't matter. We had a blast. After she left, I didn't even think of her again until a few days later. I don't regret the costume party. I wish I had thought of it earlier, to be honest.